I want to move into our last question, and it's going to be a little bit of a two-parter. But in terms of your AWS partnership, what makes it so significant for you and your company? And then kind of a second question, what would you like to see more of, or what kind of suggestion you would have as we kind of play out 2025 that you could give back to the AWS team? Tom?
Yeah, so let me start with the first one. So what makes AWS so significant? I think it's a combination of soft factors, which is this cultural alignment we have, because I think we are quite similar organizations, very goal-oriented, results-driven, data-driven, but also flexible, agile. So I think this is also very important. Yeah? And we also truly believe that AWS is the place to be when it comes to any kind of workload, because of I think the company that will, or the hyperscaler that will succeed to bring the best performance and the best quality of service for the lowest price will always be AWS. Yeah? And especially in the managed service space, where it is about margins, and etc., it's an important, very important factor. Yeah? And so what I would like to see more from AWS is basically what we are already seeing now at this event. We have seen a lot of announcements that go in the line of what I was just saying, bringing AI, agentic AI into real world use cases, into production at a low cost, low management effort for us. So this is basically what's important, because we are going full in. We are AI. We call ourselves we are an AI first company, which means that our CEO is really driving every function, every part of the company to adopt AI for their value creation, be it controlling, be it HR, be it our managed service delivery. Yeah? And this is where we have a huge bet on AWS.
That's great. Pranay, in terms of what's most significant, and then is there a piece of advice?
Yeah. So I would say, like, our alignment with AWS starts with the customer, right? I've been a customer of AWS the 4th time right now. IT for Rackspace reports up through me, so I'm an AWS customer as well as apart from being this. So this is the 4th time I've been an AWS customer. And when other partners and software providers come to me and says, like, what's your best example of being customer focused? I point out to AWS, right? It starts there. If you think about the right thing for the customer, then the alignment starts to happen, because you're not going to go sell anything for that size. And with Rackspace, if you're familiar with us and you've done a keynote, you know that we were built on this term, fanatical customer experience. So our alignment really starts there, right? And it's the customers where we get aligned. And then the second big thing about AWS is, I said it before, they're the best at technology. They're the best at technology. They may not be the first in some cases, but when they do come up with the technology, it is the best in the industry. The third thing, which we haven't touched, but I'll tell you, it's not just on the technology front. AWS Marketplace is one of the best things that AWS has put out, right? AWS Marketplace for us, as a managed services provider, as a services provider in general, is phenomenal, because we're able to take managed services, which has a lot of characteristics of SaaS, right? Because for someone like Rackspace, we're about a $2.9 billion business, but the key fact is not 2.9 billion, we're 5,000 employees, right? And 5,000 Rackers. So if you do the revenue per employee comparison, we're way ahead of anyone else. That's because of the automation that's built in. So when you take the automation and the platform, add the services to it, the managed services that we have are a perfect fit for Marketplace, right? And it reduces friction for customers buying and others. And so what we've done is we've taken some of the offerings I've mentioned, and we've got them certified as part of the SaaS pieces, and we end up driving that. For the customer, it's less friction. For us, it gives us a way to get more tightly aligned with AWS. And for many of our customers, it allows them to burn down their PPA commits, right, that they have in the organization. So it's a win-win-win, which we've already been one of the early adopters to go leverage. We want to double down on it going forward. And I think the innovation that AWS is bringing, both from a technology front and from an interaction with customer standpoint, I'm looking forward to more of that. Right? Obviously, you're never satisfied. You could do more. And I know they are not satisfied. They'll do more.
That's great. That's fantastic. So Prakash, in terms of Kyndryl, what is most significant with AWS? And then is there a piece of advice?
Absolutely. I think your question is quite apt in terms of what makes our partnership with AWS so significant for us. So I'll just give you, a quick snapshot of how important it is for us. So every quarter, in the quarterly results that Martin, our CEO, goes out to the street with, he reports on 3 parameters. So that's the 3 tenets of our organization. The first is alliances. And within alliances, AWS is one of our most strategic alliances. The second is, of course, our accounts, and third is advanced delivery. So in terms of our alliance focus in the organization, in fact, last quarter, we did more than $300 million of revenue on hyperscaler. And we report that hyperscaler growth and numbers to the street every quarter. I think we are one of the few GSI, MSP players who actually does that. And we take that really seriously. So we have 11,000 AWS certified professionals within Kyndryl. We are, growing that practice pretty significantly. In terms of our run rate, you will already see that in this fiscal, we already will cross $1 billion of our hyperscaler, revenue, and a significant portion comes from AWS. So it is very significant for us in terms of our growth strategy going forward. And the 4 pillars of that strategy, the one is sales, the second is marketing, third is solutions, and the fourth is in terms of training and enablement. And we are working very closely with AWS on all those 4 pillars. I think it is very crucial for our growth story ahead in terms of how we align with AWS globally. So going forward, I think you also asked in terms of what I'd like to see more is in terms of our alignment in our major countries. So we have these very strong country teams across the globe. And I want to replicate the success we've had with the AWS partnership in some of the countries that we have already working very closely with, to all those regions where we are actually, what I do is like every month we have a hyperscaler week with AWS across the globe. So in the last quarter, I've had hyperscaler weeks with AWS in Brazil, in UK, in Spain, in India, and now we have one happening in Italy, one happening in Japan in the next couple of months. So we put in a lot of investment where we actually fly down our executives across the globe, coming there for the hyperscaler week, getting the best of the breed, practice leaders, account mapping exercise, be there at the AWS premises. So we put in our investments to make sure that we are ahead of the game, we are proactive, we are strategizing in a way which clearly focuses on all the 4 pillars of the partnership that I mentioned. So for us, I think the partnership with AWS is really significant. It has a right focus from the CEO downwards. And for our growth story ahead, I think this is going to play a major role for us. So we are really, serious and on board with us, with AWS for this one. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
That's great. That's fantastic. Jonathan, what's most significant? And then, is there any advice?
Sure. I think I'll tie it together in a different way here. I want to use a customer use case. And you said it quite well, Srini, that AWS Marketplace plays a pretty big role here, right? So I'm sure you guys are familiar with a company called Jollibee. Jollibee is probably 17th largest food chain in the world, right? And they have around 100 stores in the US, a total of around maybe 6,800 stores worldwide, 18 brands, 33 countries, right? So I want to use that example in terms of our managed services, right? So we started our managed services with Jollibee in 2020. It was more infrastructure, IT operations, cloud ops, cost optimization, kind of managed services when we started. Earning trust for the first 6 months to 1 year. After that year, we were able to get 2 more years, multi-year contracts on MSP. But how, right? Working with AWS, again, there's just so many things that's happening in AWS. But at that time, we really leveraged a lot on AWS Marketplace. So we are a CPPO partner, channel partner private offer. And we were able to really leverage a lot on that with our customers, especially Jollibee. So the example would be, I can't name the ISVs, but we worked with a security ISV and a backup ISV. in being able to implement across 3,000 plus stores in the Philippines for Jollibee, I mean, across the board. And if you know the Philippines, it's very geographically challenged in a way. Lots of islands, multiple cities, lack of internet, So we were able to do that really nationwide deployment. But the key part of that was that after we finished that, we were able to put that into our managed services umbrella, right? So those two specific ISVs, and again, it's a nice coining of the term, the power of three, AWS, ECV, eCloud Valley as the partner, and the ISV. You put that all together, it enriches that customer experience. So in terms of Jollibee, instead of just having the typical managed services offering, we enrich that by putting in the ISVs in there. And what does that mean for us? I mean, for Jollibee, that's really great, but we are able to also cascade the same managed services pushed to other countries who require something similar, right? So I think that's where the AWS partnership comes in. And again, I guess that's the good use of that word partnership, right? When we started with AWS in 2013, it was really more of a principal-vendor relationship, right? But it really, really evolved after that into a partnership. That's why I'm saying direct access to AWS, being able to tap the experts, understanding that out of all these options, these are the right ones for our segment of the market, our part of the world. That really makes a huge difference, right? And yeah, I think if anything, that's the formula that works for us. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I really appreciate all the answers. What a great panel and so many perspectives on a global level, industry level. Sachin, I kind of want to give you the last word. There's so much we've taken in today. I'd love to kind of hear your vision of what we've heard and what we can expect.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think, look, very, very energizing to hear all the stories and the insights and the advice as well. I think we are in lockstep with where our customers are going to go, and you are great ambassadors for us in terms of getting us there. Managed services as a business model is really, really activating the value that we want to currently realize with our customers. You become then and act as their trusted advisor. We are investing. Please take advantage of that. So all of you who are listening to us, the Managed Services Provider Program continues to invest in enablement, training, tooling, and making sure that you are well established and set up to really deliver value. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of the NDA content, or what I call the early kind of information that flows to you to get you technically set up to go do this. So that enablement built into that, please take advantage of that. But as we continue to see more agentic AI models or Gen AI and new industry workloads and new industry use cases light up, this is where I think the jointly planning the roadmap for the customer and bringing your account planning with our sellers and with our teams to kind of really go forge that plan and then invest ahead to really get our customers the best experience. We are excited about that. Business outcomes and other pieces are getting fit into it from a program perspective, and we continue to invest more and more in helping you win customers, win workloads, and most importantly, deliver a managed value back to the customers. So super exciting things continues to evolve, and really looking forward to more these kind of stories that really put our customers at the center of what we do here.
Well, that was a great summary, and thank you again to the panel, and thank you for joining this AWS Managed Services Partner Panel.